feel like I'm trying to do the scariest thing I've done in a while, which is try to go live while my twins are here sleeping. So if you can't hear me very well in this video, I'm sorry. You might have to just put some headphones in for this one. I'm doing the best I can, and I'm tired. Um, so today we're gonna talk. Y'all know how I like to make things easier. That's like a big pillar of like what I talk about on my channel, especially when it comes to just like home management and just functioning as a busy mom. And so I came across an idea today that I wanted to share with you guys that I felt like was a good little mental tool. Um, if you guys are on my Instagram, you may have heard me talk about a new book that I got. It's called Smart but Scattered. And so I got this because just for like, child development and stuff like that, um, it's only natural if, um, you know, if I struggle with, just like planning things out really well and just being organized and keeping things flowing, it's only natural that maybe some other people in my family may have, these similar struggles. And so I'm learning how to work on it on myself. And then it's really cool that, maybe we can tackle these issues while my kids are young and they won't even have to even worry about it as adults. And so it's just basically thinking about your thinking, like understanding how your brain works or your child's brain works in this case. And then like choosing to do it differently or choosing to put tools in place to kind of help you um cope with, the brain that you have. And so I've been listening to it on audiobook, if I can be honest with y'all. I have like all these intentions to read, but I was like, no. I bought like several books. And when I saw this one, I was like, this book really stood out to me because as I was skimming through it, I felt like there's a lot of familiar things in here. It's almost like the Fly Lady may have had this book herself when she developed her system. I'm not saying that that's true, but I'm saying that there's so much in here that really overlaps with what we talk about on this channel and what I believe the Fly Lady system is about. There's probably more in here that is not covered on my channel or in the system. They probably go into it in way more in depth. But I was like, yeah, this is like it, like executive functioning skills. And I was saying on Instagram yesterday that like maybe for me it's like I had enough executive functioning skills to be able to take care of myself, to do well in school. Barely. You guys know I graduated on the top of my class, but I don't think the way I went about it was like the most healthy. I had enough executive managed functioning skills to, you know, maybe even have like one kid, but like by the time we became a family of six, I feel like the skills that I had were like extremely strained, and there were just some things that were not working, and like yeah, I just don't feel like I was functioning the way that I wanted to. So I think it's really cool that there's a book that like kind of breaks. Sorry, my kids are waking up. Anyway, it's so cool that there's a whole field of study that like thinks about like what are all the moving parts that are involved for people to be able to function, for people to be able to set goals and to see them like actually follow through with them and to see them actually come to life. Sorry, my girl's like moving and I'm like trying not to wake her up. So anyway, yeah, it's really cool. And so yeah, what are the skills that are actually involved? And so this book is really cool because it like breaks down executive functioning, like what that is, all the different components, and it's cool to understand that sometimes people have problems with executive functioning, but there's like several different like points in the process where there could be a breakdown. So this is good because for all of us, because where my executive functioning skills might be weak, like yours might be strong in that area, and vice versa. It helps me understand like other people and like where other people's executive functioning skills might be breaking down, and then how we can possibly put a solution in place to kind of help either compensate that for that, or for you to lean on maybe a strength that you have to compensate for it, or how to strengthen it. So I think this is going to help my channel become more dynamic, because it's the realization that, some of you guys may not have the breakdown that I have, and just kind of knowing like what other people might be struggling with that's like keeping them from reaching their goals. So anyway, it's been really cool. This book, like I mentioned, I'm listening to it on audiobook, but I do have the physical version, so I can flip through here, especially if there's an idea that I want to get back to. So I was listening to this today, and I heard an idea that I wanted to share with you guys. Um, just kind of going along with the theme of like making things easier so that you're more likely to show up to it. So the section of the book was just talking about um, like if you have something like your child has something that's challenging to do, and like they don't want to do it, like how to be able to approach them and modify the task for them, so that you can get buy-in, and then over time you can like increase the intensity of the task, which is like what we talk about, right? Like starting with small habits, getting used to that, and then slowly building over time. So, but this is a strategy that I never thought about before. And the strategy was basically saying, like, ask your child to think about the task at hand that they're avoiding or that they don't want to do. And you ask them to kind of, on a scale of 1 to 10, to rank how challenging they think that task is. And more than likely, they're going to have it, 10 being like the most difficult and 1 being very little to no effort at all. And 1 through 10, these are all tasks that I can do, I am capable of doing, but 10 just feels like it's a lot of work compared to a 1, which is like, I don't feel like it would take very much effort at all. So one of the strategies that they had was, let's say that you had a task and I'm saying that for children, but you can apply this to yourself, and it ranked as a 10 for you in that moment, thinking about like what can I do to bring this down from a 10 to a 3? Like what can I do to make this feel like less challenging for me? And so I thought this idea was super helpful, because you guys know that I'm doing my Fly Lady reset right now. And I've told you guys that I started with my morning routine. I've also put in a little bit of zone cleaning, and I've been doing my weekly home blessing with my kids on the weekend, but I hadn't really started building out my evening routine. And one of the things that why I was kind of taking my time with it is because I was trying to think about, like, especially with dishes in the evening, like how to put that into my evening routine so that I could like have as much flow and smoothness as possible. And I wasn't really seeing like that opportunity. So that's not to say that I wasn't doing my evening routine. I just didn't know like where to put it, where it would be like an existing standing thing, because that's what I desire, is to like kind of have a little more structure. And so what I've been doing is mainly I'll show up for my morning routine, and since I don't always consistently do my night routine since the reset, sometimes the dishes can be quite heavy in the morning, but it's okay, because I usually have the most energy and the most like strength in the morning, so I'm able to like get it done, but it's annoying not doing your nighttime routine. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I was like sitting here thinking about that, and I had just heard this part on the audiobook, and I was like, well, in the evening, that's when I have like my lowest energy. Like I've just gone through the whole day. I wake up early, I been working all day. I take my kids to these, different places they need to be. Sometimes I work out. So I'm struggling to find smoothness because I'm like freaking tired. And so no, it's not really that hard to do the dishes, but it feels like a lot when I feel tired. And so I was like, how do I take this from a 10? Because that's what it feels like, if dishes are the very last thing I do, or however I do it, like if I try to do it during dinner, how do I take it from a 10 to a 3? And I was like, well, what if you just like empty the dishwasher? I was like, that would be like a head start. Like, because even if I did nothing else, at least in the morning, that's one less thing for me to do. So I was like, that's what I'll do. I was like, as soon as I walk home, I just got home, done bringing my kids home from speech therapy. I was like, before I put these girls in the bath every day, I'll just empty the dishwasher. Like, that literally feels like minimal to me. It doesn't feel like a big deal to me. It definitely took it down from a 10 to a 3. And then I was like, is there another step that I could do that maybe feels like a 3? You know, how I can just drop it down from a 10 to a 3? And I was like, well, what if you just like prep the dishes and stuff? Like, just rinse stuff off and kind of put stuff to the side. We're not going to put it in the dishwasher yet because that feels like we're going back up. But like, what if I could just prep the dishes and I pick a different part of the night to do that? I typically do the dishes like when I'm like, the kids are eating or like when I'm prepping dinner. So I was like, what if I just, spend a few minutes just prepping dishes? I'm not going to make it like a big commitment or a big deal. And for me to do that, that's still better than what I was doing, right? When I wasn't doing my evening routine at all. And then even if I take those dishes into the morning, like I don't do anything else with those. Sorry. 1 second. Yeah, I'm like, even if I don't do anything else with those dishes until the morning time, like, isn't that what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks? And isn't that still making me like better off than where I was when I wasn't trying at all or I was inconsistent? And I was like, I feel like doing these two things um feels smooth. Like I don't feel like it is requires too much willpower to just do that, to just empty the dishwasher when I come home or before I put the girls in the bath and to just do some dish prep. And then if I that's all I do, I finish everything else off in the morning. And I was like, I think that like I finally have um what I'm gonna do to tackle my dishes. I would love to run like 2 loads of dishes a day, but like I told you guys, I'm trying to like build myself up and slowly optimize my routine. I will get there, but I'm like, this is definitely, it sounds like the right next step for me. So I just wanted to share that exercise with you because I can see where throughout the Fly Lady system, where maybe, I don't know if she had this tool, but I can see where the tool definitely could work or where it has worked. And so I wanted to share some examples with you guys. Um, so you guys know how we do, when we're trying to do like decluttering, organizing projects, how, we work on those types of things 15 minutes at a time. That is definitely a way to take a project that would ordinarily be a 10 and drop it down to a 3 because my mind before I started this journey was definitely if I saw like a closet or something that needed to be organized, I felt like I had to do the whole closet. That's a 10. But when I'm like, no, just work on it for 15 minutes, that's a 3, and although it might be slower, if I do that little by little, after a week, the closet's going to be done. And it doesn't feel like for me that it required as much exertion as what I initially thought I would have to do. If I have a closet, you guys know, y'all have seen me organize and clean this stuff. Y'all know that these decluttering projects don't be lasting like that, so I have to keep staying on top of it. But I have like my master bedroom closet. If I felt like I had to go in there and clean the whole closet today, for me, that's a 10. And the likelihood that I would avoid it is very, very high. But if I'm like, okay, how do I turn this into a 3 then? It can be so simple as like, I'm going to take a trash bag and there's a ton of stuff in here that I know we're not wearing anymore, we're not using. And I'm going to fill this trash bag up and I'm going to run it to the donation center. Like for me, that takes a task like that from a 10 down to a 3. Just even decluttering, in general, if you're starting a new project, you're, moving into a new zone and you're just like, I need to clean this space, but I don't know where to start. Setting your timer for 15 minutes and looking for things to just declutter for that whole time. No, nothing else, just things to remove from the space. For me, that's something that definitely takes a grand project and takes it from a 10 to a 3. Even if I'm doing something like I'm just going to focus on one task, I have this really crazy drawer, but all I'm going to do today is collect all the pencils and put them in this Ziploc bag. Like, I'm moving forward, and it took something that felt chaotic and crazy, that felt like a 10, and it brought it down to a 3. And so even thinking about like the tools that you have in your house or where you choose to place certain products in your house. For me, y'all know I love my stick mop because when I have a stick mop, like I don't have to bring out all the things, I don't have to make the solution. It just feels like it's just right there. It's easy to grab. So it takes something like mopping, which sometimes can feel like a 10. It brings it down to a 3. You know, my little stick vacuum. And even just like where I choose to keep products in this house. There's a time like I told you guys before where I used to like keep all of our cleaning products in our laundry room. So if I saw a bathroom that looked gross, like I would literally have to walk all the way to the laundry room to get the products I needed and come back. And I'm like, no wonder stuff wasn't getting taken care of because that felt too hard for me. But if the stuff is sitting right next to the toilet, the stuff is sitting right next to the sink, I have sponges and stuff that I need really close and within hand's reach, I'm more likely to do it. I took it from a 10, dropped it down to a 3. So I think the reason that this is cool is because, like, yes, you know, we love when people create systems for us and, you know, they tell us what to do. And, you know, depending on where like what your strengths and weaknesses are, that's exactly what for some people that's exactly what we need. We need somebody to tell us what to do. But for some of us, especially if the system is not working for you, maybe, you know, what the fly lady created for a lot of us is taking things that would normally feel like a 10 and dropping it down to a 3. But maybe it's not quite doing that for you, for some people, you know? So it just, I want to just encourage you guys if you feel like 15 minutes of zone cleaning is too overwhelming for you, or you feel like decluttering and organizing is too overwhelming for you, I want to encourage you to think about like, where's the 3 at for you? Because it might not be, you know, what works for me. My going from a 10 to a 3 might not be what works for you. So I just want to share this activity with y'all. I thought this was really cool, and I thought that, um, you know, I do see a lot of overlap, and like I feel like it's really cool to take a principle and see how it applies so like seamlessly to like what we're trying to accomplish over here. But I want for the people who need that flexibility and for the people who feel like, you know, you still feel overwhelmed and like it's too much and it's not going to work for you, I would like to encourage you to try this activity as well. Like think about that task that you really would like to see get done, but you're having a hard time making time for it. And I would like to ask you to, on a scale of 1 to 10, like where is it? And if in your mind you think that the amount of work required to do that task is a 10, ask yourself, how do I go from a 10 to a 3? And like be cool with doing that, you know? Because a lot of 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, you know? You're almost there. I'm just joking. I'm just saying it'll add up. It'll add up and it will take you where you need to go eventually. You don't have to do it all today. And you definitely don't have to give a level 10 exertion all at once if you're not about that life. I'm not about that life anymore. And I try to avoid it the best that I can. I would prefer to just break things down and do it little by little. So I just thought this was a cool activity and just another mental exercise to just reinforce the things that, you know, we've already been trying to do here. So I would love to know. Melissa Snipes says, while watching TV, I tell myself to do a task during a commercial. Yeah, I love that. I used to rely on that a lot too. Like in between breaks, like just go, you know, make progress on something and then come back to your show. So, what are you watching right now, Melissa? I like stopped watching TV for a while, and I feel like I'm like slowly getting back into TV watching. Like I've been like watching a couple of shows. Like I watched Bridgerton this week. It was so good, so cute. And then me and my husband are watching like some reality TV stuff right now. We're watching what is it called? The Ultimatum or something on Netflix. So I'm like not like a super TV person, but I'm like trying to get back into it, you know. Why not? You know, just to have something interesting and different to think about. So anyway, what are y'all watching? Do y'all have any show recommendations? Because I feel like I'm starting from scratch a little bit. I don't even know what the cool people are watching anymore. So anyway, yeah, but that's totally a cool way to like, you know, take what can feel overwhelming and to break it down and have that little motivation, you know, that if I just do what I need to do, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna chill, you know, and watch the show that I'm enjoying. So anyway, y'all, I have stayed up way too late. Um, I need to go to sleep. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for those of you who like this video. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.